Having joined conciliation with strength, the president began a brief European tour at a point of repeated contention in a Berlin encircled by communist East Germany and divided by a wall. Here, and in later visits on his journey, it was overwhelmingly evident that Kennedy had become a rallying figure for the hopes of other peoples around the world.
He was just overwhelmed with the interest that they showed in him as the President of the United States. It was just unbelievable. And this picked up throughout the trip. And I could see this was having a tremendous effect on him. And when he was riding with Adenauer, he said, "Chancellor, do they turn out like this every time you celebrate something?" And Adenauer was very proud and pleased. He said, "No, they came for you, Mr. President."
A few who say that it's true that communism is an evil system, but it permits us to make economic progress. Lass sie nach Berlin kommen. Let them come to Berlin. All free men, wherever they may live, are citizens of Berlin. And therefore, as a free man, I take pride in the words, "Ich bin ein Berliner."
The same day that he went by the Berlin Wall, we drove into Dublin that night. The crowds in Germany were bigger, but it was different in Ireland. They were welcoming home a cousin. When he drove up O'Connell Street in Dublin, 500,000 people turned out to see their cousin. And what a welcome. He made everyone so proud. The 4 days in Ireland were 4 of the happiest days of his life.
Again at home, he rejoined his family for quiet times aboard the Honey Fitz, offered critiques of his brother's seamanship as they sailed the family yacht. Sometimes he retreated to a new weekend home in Northern Virginia where Jackie could teach Caroline to ride and John could play soldier. The president himself could learn the dangers of offering sugar cubes to a pony. "Keep shooting," Kennedy told the photographer. "You are about to see a president eaten by a horse." It had been a summer of reassurance and accomplishment, climaxed by the president's most important symbolic victory, the signing of the Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, the first major step toward arms reduction. It was for John Kennedy the golden moment of his administration.
One time he said, "Where are you going with that?" And I said, "I'm putting it in my file downstairs." He says, "What file?" I said, "Well, I've started a file called the 8-year file. And this, when you're through, well, you may need papers like this if you want to write about them." He said, "You better also start a 4-year file." He said, "You may be unduly optimistic."
Surrounded by increasing approval both at home and abroad, Kennedy had begun to prepare for a second term, to winning big in 1964. Yet, there remained some fence mending to be done within his own party. His strong civil rights stand had caused dissensions in the South, a traditional Democratic Party stronghold. In the fall of 1963, he prepared a trip to Houston and Dallas in an attempt to reduce some of the dangerous infighting between liberal and conservative elements in the Democratic ranks.
He and Jackie and Ken O'Donnell and I were going to sleep that night at LBJ's ranch. And then we were coming back, and the following week he was looking forward to it. Monday would be John's birthday, Wednesday was Caroline's birthday, and Thursday all the Kennedys were going to gather at Hyannisport. It was Thanksgiving Day. He was looking forward to the best years of his life and feeling better than he had ever been on that last day that we swam together in the White House, Wednesday, November 20th, 1963.
Something to do something about.
Michael Gerber
And when you have problems, call us.
and Thomas Travisano. They took sound business practices and made them simple.
Michael Thomas Corporation, will you hold, please?
They grew
Just a second.
Michael Thomas Corporation.
And they
will you
grew.
Hold, please. Hold, please.
in the world of small business consultants. They became very big.
Good afternoon. Oh, please.
Their only
Michael
problem,
Frank's on line
their
4. He's been
phone
waiting
system.
all day. Oh,
It simply
no.
couldn't handle success.
Oh, no.
That's when Pacific Bell stepped in.
Michael and Tom were very excited when I told them about the Pacific Bell Communications Management Service, Centrex. It's totally flexible, no limits on growth, and no new equipment to buy. We took away all their worries so they could go do what they do best.
Michael Thomas has grown successful by giving simple advice.
Well, you have a lot of choices.
Their advice on
But
phone systems?
if it were up to me,
That's simple, too.
I'd call them Pacific Bell. They've been a great deal of help to us.
W. Dingley Westmoreland is a very busy man who takes care of all his affairs. That's why he's leaving it all to his grandson on one condition, that in 24 hours he's married.
I'm running out of time.
Say yes. The wildest trip down the aisle ever taken. Say yes. Rated PG-13.
Now playing at a theater near you.
Last year, the best factory racing teams in the world competed for the World Rally Championship. Peugeot won. This commitment to performance has helped Peugeot produce the 505 Turbo, a car Road and Track has described as leaving many cars of more sporting reputations far behind. So why buy a performance sedan that just promises performance when you can buy one from a company that delivers it? Peugeot.
On November 21, 1963, John Fitzgerald Kennedy set out on a journey from which he would never return. Killed by a bullet in Dallas, he joined the other receding figures of history. His life half lived, his greatest task only begun. And we suddenly became mourners, grieving not only for him but for ourselves, robbed of so bright a promise. For a little while, he had brought Americans closer to the colonnades of government. In his voice, we seemed to hear our own. He had reminded us that for all our differences, the nation still rests on the common trust of all its citizens, a great arch suspended upon itself, stone on stone. In peril and challenge, he had summoned the best that was in us. He spoke to us then. He speaks to us